Did you guys hear a disturbance in the force over the weekend? Or perhaps just the shrieking of a lot of fake leftists? Because Schadenfreude alert, Hasan Piker got suspended from Twitch on the weekend. And you know what? Normally I don't kind of do the Schadenfreude thing, but that guy was a friggin' dick to me. And so what happened, I think, is hilarious. He just basically tried to asshole another asshole and got Fox News'd. And then Kotaku came to his defense and went full Kotaku. It's like a culture war buffet of lunacy. And it's just sometimes drama, sometimes like Twitch drama, a sense it goes through this apotheosis and it becomes like art. It like transcends typical Twitch drama, and this particular drama went there. And because I don't do drama stuff normally, and I don't try to piss people off for clicks, I don't do this kind of stuff. It's very helpful if you become a patron. Help support this channel, become a patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. We do a lot of fun things on Patreon. People got to see my cosplays. Are going to get a very special sneak peek this week before I leave for PAX. So that'll be fun. Now's a really good time to become a patron because you get to see the secret stuff. You gotta keep it quiet. Like, keep it secret. My patrons are really good at keeping secrets. It's pretty awesome. But so what happened now that I've done all this lead up? What happened with this? And I keep missing the, okay, OBS, there we are. What happened? Okay, here we go. This is from Kotaku. And, Nathan Grayson, which this time of year, really, Nathan Grayson? Do you really want to be stepping into these things? You, of all people, you'd think that this time of year Nathan Grayson would want to be on his best behavior. But no, it's like summer and traffic naturally declines in the summer. And so online journalists like freak out and go, oh my God, I have to do something edgy to get the clicks up. And then they go like fishing for hate clicks and then they complain when they get it. But notice the headline, Twitch suspends popular leftist streamer after controversial 9/11 comments. Perhaps Hasan Piker is a popular streamer, but I claim his leftist credentials are suspect. I'll show you why in a bit. And after controversial 9/11 comments. Now, I disagree that that's the most likely thing that he got suspended for. I'm letting you know this now because this is going to get nuts fast. And I'm going to go through this as quickly as I possibly can. But there's really no way to do it quickly. I am going to put a trigger warning on this video because one of the things he said I actually find highly disturbing. So if you're feeling kind of sensitive at the moment, if you're having kind of an off day, maybe I'll do like a summary and then I'll get into the nuts and bolts of it because I don't want to put anybody off. It actually did disturb me. One of the things the guy said, basically this former Afghanistan veteran, a veteran of the Afghanistan war, a guy by the name of Ben Crenshaw, who is now a Republican congressman. Dan Crenshaw. I'm sorry, not Ben Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw. He's a Republican congressman. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast and he said some things about bin Laden and what the war in Afghanistan did and all that stuff that Hasan Piker took exception to. Piker went peak culture war, said a bunch of absolutely indefensible things. So indefensible that even Uncle Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks took him on to do damage control on the Young Turks to try to help him out a little bit, like bad nephew. If this sounds very much like a Scrooge McDuck cartoon, it's probably apt, but it didn't work. Ben Crenshaw out culture warred the Turks And Cenk's not that young anymore. But he went on Fox News, and you know what happens when people go to the mainstream media. Suddenly, social media companies start paying attention to the crap that goes down on their platform, and Hasan Piker got suspended from Twitch. And couldn't happen to a nicer jerk. I shouldn't say that. Hasan's my BFF, right? Like, he's my bestie. Him muting me and then blocking me on Twitter because he didn't want to, like, go back and forth with me because I don't stoop to his level, and so he ended up looking stupid. Like, that's just friendly kibitzing, right? Like, it's just joshing. Okay, that's the short version. I will dive into it now. So if you're, like I said, feeling sensitive, turn this off now. I won't be offended because this is going to get real. This is like some legit offensive stuff. And again, Kotaku is defending this. Kotaku is defending what this guy said. Like, oh, free speech all of a sudden. So here we go down the rabbit hole. During a Twitch stream earlier this week, popular leftist streamer Hasan Piker made a statement that would, by pretty much any measure, be considered incendiary. America deserved 9/11, dude, he said. Fuck it, I'm saying it. Today, Twitch suspended Piker for 1 week. He got grounded, Twitch grounded. Now, that may seem like a slap on the wrist, but even a week can disrupt you a little bit. And it's basically Twitch saying, we officially don't approve of what you do. Don't do it again, because it won't just be a week next time. This is the way these guys go. They don't know when to quit, and they just keep pushing it. Instead of finding a line, you know, we're true greats of the craft, like Howard Stern. Howard Stern went legit over the line, maybe, you know, a dozen times over the years, you know, with the FCC fines. But he was really good at most of the time knowing where the line was and not crossing it. Some of those fines were nonsense. Some of them, he did breach codes. But it was a question of, did the codes make sense? But anyway, getting back, Hasan Piker's no Howard Stern. It was based on the Joe Rogan podcast. Dan Crenshaw, near the start of the interview, Crenshaw, a former Navy SEAL who served in Afghanistan, had made the assertion that prior to 9/11, bin Laden had no reason to hate America except for our Western ideology, describing that hatred in the acts that followed as irrational, the acts that followed being 9/11. Crenshaw went on to argue against the idea that the United States destabilizing foreign policies had sowed the seeds of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. In response to Rogan's comments that people in other countries now dislike us because they've watched civilians die en masse to U.S. drone strikes and other military ventures, Crenshaw suggested that millions of people in countries like Yemen and Iraq are actually begging for the U.S. to establish a bigger military presence and restore order. Ultimately, he concluded that if the U.S. was to pull out of many of the 100 plus countries it is currently occupying, that's loaded language, that's commentary, that's not straight up journalism, occupying in various forms, worse actors would 100% fill the power vacuum. Now, the thing that's interesting about that back and forth is they're actually both right. That a lot of resentment has been built up in those parts of the world because of the drone strikes and other things. Many people in those parts of the world also think that the only thing that can settle it is American intervention because, you know, the warlords and dictators in that part of the world don't exactly listen to the people. So they're angry at America, but they still, you know, they sort of curse America, but at the same time, they want America to come in and fix things. They want America to behave as promised, you know, live up to the ideal of America. And, you know, newsflash, even in places like Yemen, people do not think as a monolith. There are differing opinions within those places. People are people. Funny that. So Piker, an American citizen who was raised in Istanbul, Turkey, was vehemently opposed to these comments and said so on his stream. This is so insane, he said after watching that portion of the interview. Piker followed this with the statement about how America deserved 9/11. So not only was he apparently cosplaying a Jersey Shore cast member who skipped leg day and apparently hair washing day, but he got so incensed by a foreign policy debate that he said America deserved 9/11. His exact quote here was, I'll spare you the profanity. We totally brought it on ourselves, dude, he said then. We blanking did. Holy blank. Look at the way this dip blank is running his blanking mouth justifying genocide right now. Now, I bleeped the swearing for a reason, because there's a time and a place to curse a blue streak. When you're discussing sensitive foreign policy, that's not really it. You have to show that you can comment on this stuff intelligently. Who am I kidding? That's not Hasan Piker's deal. He thinks he's a lot smarter than he is. He's a shining example of how, education does not equal intelligence. The guy is just loud. And not loud like Uncle Janky is, where Jank, at least can string a valid point together. He's just loud. Like, that's running his mouth. Free speech, buddy. Like, you're allowed to run your mouth. And he wasn't running his mouth. He was invited on as a guest in a podcast. Talking that way is kind of the deal. That's what one does when one does podcasts, when you're invited on as a guest. Just saying. Okay, so irony of ironies. Even Hasan Piker's slavering dogs that just attack people, whoever he dunks on, they just go and scream at them without checking things out or watching something in its entirety, in its proper context. They just unleash. I know, they tried to do it to me. A few of them were like, okay, no, I really don't think she said anything objectionable. But a lot of them just responded emotionally to him calling me, this is white feminism and a femcel. And I forget the other things he called me, but they were all just ad hominem attacks. And he didn't really have much of an argument other than a lot of emotionally charged words he knew would rile some people up. And he attempted the same thing here, but it backfired. His own Twitch chat didn't react well to the idea that the U.S. deserved 9/11. And he tried to defend this by saying that the U.S. sells weapons to Saudi Arabia, which would likely help fund 9/11. So if you sell things to another country and they happen to be weapons and they fly planes into buildings, this means you somehow deserved it. That doesn't make any sense, but how is anything I'm saying controversial, he said. We blanking fund the people who did 9/11 still to this day. And I'll skip this stuff because it's a very glib reference to the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. And he inflated, he said it was $10 billion worth of weapons to the Saudis. It's actually not. Nathan Grayson rightly corrects him. It's $8 billion worth of weapons split between Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and Jordan. But, let's not let, truth or accuracy get in the way of a good story. But this is the part. This is the part. I don't think it's the we deserve 9/11 thing that actually got him suspended. This part actually breaks Twitter rules, and I'm going to explain why. It's offensive to say, what he did, and I think he's an idiot for saying it. Like, the idea that a bunch of innocent people deserve to lose their lives because of U.S. foreign policy. Like, come on, man. Come on. He knows better. This is privilege in action. He's a rich kid from a rich family, and Uncle Jake got him his job. He didn't really have to work for it. This is what privilege looks like, right? Financial privilege is real. But he said, I need to work myself up for this, okay? During the same, now unavailable stream, Piker used vulgar language to criticize Crenshaw for the hypocrisy of having once served, only to now use his credentials to justify more war. Didn't he go to war and, literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave effing soldier, effed his eye hole with their dick? Crenshaw actually lost his eye to an improvised explosive device. And that's the part where I'm like, first of all, that's a rape reference, and that's just not considered funny. That's a no-go zone in 2019. We are in the age of Me Too. You don't do that. Plenty of comedians I like very much did rape jokes in the past. I found them funny. In context, they were rather artful, but you do not do those now. And those sorts of references are in contravention of Twitch rules. That alone. But to misrepresent how a guy got injured, that's disgusting. Not only is it disgusting, it's trivializing sexual assault, and it's homophobic. Like this whole thing of, oh, some guy does something to another guy with his dick. It's homophobic. It hinges on homophobia. It is. This is the thing that drives me crazy about the Young Turks and their faux leftism. They are definitely economic socialists, but when it comes to progressivism, they cherry pick. Like Cenk's conservative past starts coming up when certain comments he makes about women. Usually the homophobia is subtler than this. But this is just out there. Like, seriously, how old are you? There's a reason this guy's surname is Piker, okay? Because he acts like one. Unreal. Like, disagree with somebody, dunk all you want, but don't go there. That is just, it is offensive to anybody who, has served, has got injured, and, some people who, especially men who were victims of sexual assault, and don't like to see people joking about it because it's a no-go zone where women are involved. That's just not cool. If you can't joke about sexual assault of a woman, you shouldn't be able to do it about a guy. This isn't okay. So what basically happened is Keemstar, the guy who puts out the drama alert tweets, he pointed out that Hasan Piker hadn't been banned for those remarks. There was a back and forth between Dan Crenshaw and the Pike one on Twitter. Dan Crenshaw was smarter than Hasan Piker, which doesn't take much, but I want to give him credit for an excellent Twitter comeback. Piker, as he did this to me too. He likes to continue the fight on Twitter because the guy apparently loves drama, but he doesn't do it smart. He just behaves in a way that, if parents catch their 15-year-old behaving this way, they usually discipline them. Uncle Cenk is apparently egging him on, but not quite in this point. But not quite. We'll get to that in a bit. But Hasan Piker claimed, completely with no substantiation, apparently, that Dan Crenshaw was continuing to be offended by a joke comedian Pete Davidson made about his appearance on Saturday Night Live last year. That was settled. I remember seeing that being settled. So Dan Crenshaw, knowing the Piker is full of Pike, responded, "The only thing that offends me is your inability to use capital letters in any of your tweets. But really, it is the fact that Google/YouTube profit from and promote the Young Turks, and by extension, your disgusting defense of the 9/11 terrorist attacks against Americans." It wasn't just a defense. Ben Crenshaw was being kind there. And, of course, this is where Kotaku goes full Kotaku. Because instead of just agreeing that this was inappropriate behavior, they start kind of defending Hasan Piker. We're not quite there yet. I will try to get it to as quickly because we haven't hit peak culture war yet. Oh no. After a back and forth on Twitter, which of course, the minute something happens on Twitter, it becomes newsworthy to cable news. Like I said, peak culture war, but this got Dan Crenshaw an appearance on Laura Ingram's show on Fox News. And so now Hasan Piker is ammunition against the left in general. That's a mistake for anybody following culture war tactics. When you do something indefensible so that Laura Ingraham can claim the radical left seems to be getting more depraved every day, and you have to truncate the clip because it's so disgusting you can't air it on cable news. That's not the way Nathan Grayson put it. You cannot run that clip as it is on TV. You can't. But they were on. They yucked it up. And at this point, Hasan Piker's just getting pounded because that's what cable news is, right? They don't get both sides on. They just pick their team and just like pound on them on TV. And I don't know why Nathan Grayson decided to point out that Fox News has 3.4 million subscribers on YouTube, because it's the TV audience that really matters. Fox News is still the most watched cable news network most of the time. And Dan Crenshaw went low, making fun of the way Hasan Piker talks and all that stuff. That's not okay. But of course, it's like, oh, why does YouTube let these people go? The thing is, he gave them the ammunition to do this. This was a tactical error in the culture war. Advantage conservatives, right? So the Young Turks starts doing damage control, which I've watched a fair bit of Young Turks before it got too nuts for me. But they very rarely walk anything back, and they very rarely even disagree with each other on air. So this was big. Piker went on the Young Turks to address his Twitch comments. He reiterated his central points: that American foreign policy led to 9/11 and the U.S. is selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, but conceded that he should have used more precise and better language to convey those ideas. Host Cenk Uygur, Uncle Cenk, I'm not just calling him Uncle Cenk as a joke. He is Hasan Piker's uncle. That's documented fact. Who agreed with many of Piker's stances, but vocally disapproved of how he conveyed them. Cenk Uygur, who is like not a nice person himself. He does not pull punches. He goes ad hominem. He does things that, MSNBC had to get rid of him because he wouldn't just rein it in enough to get plausible deniability. No, he goes off on people. Even he said, nephew Piker went over the line. They still fail to say how American foreign policy means that thousands of innocent, non-combatant Americans deserve to die in the World Trade Center attack. They don't go there. It's like, oh, weapons to Saudi Arabia. That is not a valid argument, but blah, 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 propaganda. But then, and this is the worst cleanup ever, Uncle Cenk asked nephew Hasan if his comments about Crenshaw's eye were satire. Piker replied in the affirmative. He said he doesn't actually believe the Mujahideen are brave, and that he was instead referencing the end screen of the 1988 movie Rambo. No. When you're mischaracterizing how somebody was injured in battle, that's not satire. That's not. And I don't as somebody who does satire, the thing you have to understand about satire is people aren't going to get it. So you don't just suddenly drop into satire. You don't sit there with your sleeves rolled up like this with your hair all and claim I'm doing satire. Okay? It's structured because you've got a lot of people satire is designed to make the audience uncomfortable to an extent. His boorishness, it's a farce. It certainly is, but not in the classic version of farce. People confuse farce and satire all the time, and it bugs me. But that wasn't satire. That was, ironically, some punk rich guy running his mouth. And see, I could even do that without 4 F-bombs. Whoa, level up. That's the, rhetorical equivalent of viewing a jump dash in a tutorial, right? But they just, U.S. foreign policy, whatever. The cleanup didn't work. And that's what I find hilarious. They suspended his channel for a week. Now, Twitch doesn't publicize the rationale behind specific suspensions, but I think we can all agree that on a platform that isn't anything goes. If he'd gone on and, blasted that on 8chan or Gab, it's like, yeah, no problem, man. That's what it's for. But that's in contravention of even the murkily written Twitch rules. Like, that's way over the line. Like, you just... But, he tried to claim it's because he's a leftist and has a Muslim name. Yeah. No, don't believe me? Here it is. Okay. He went off on Twitter, which he really needs to stop doing. It's not getting him anywhere. But he said, if you disrespect a veteran as a Republican, you can be president. But if you do it as a leftist, especially one with a Muslim name, you're labeled a jihadi who hates America. Okay. No one, Twitch. I don't know if somebody may have labeled him a jihadi, but Twitch didn't. It's not about that. Nobody labeled him a jihadi. Nobody said he hates America. Twitch just suspended him for bad behavior. And hate to break it to him, yes, Donald Trump did become president and did go after John McCain, but even his own supporters, some of his own supporters disapproved of that. He lost support within the Republican Party, like establishment Republicans, for that John McCain stuff. It's something that has hurt him. It's one of the reasons he's in a weakened position now. So that was not, he didn't just get away with that. But what I find so interesting here, and I know this video is running a bit long because there's so much to unpack here. Like, I wanted people to see just the overkill of this whole thing, because that's really important. And then Nathan Grayson goes on to claim that Hasan Piker is one of the few popular vocal leftists on Twitch. I disagree with that because a lot of gamers tend to lean left in our politics just because we don't care who you are or what you are. You want a game. Like, and then he goes, well, this pays dividends. He has the 6th most watched English channel in the Just Chatting section. And he goes on about the lack of popular leftist Twitch streamers. And, okay, don't take it from me. Here it is. Based on the numbers and the general lack of prominent leftist Twitch streamers, you could argue that due to the structure of Twitch and the modern internet at large, it's currently hard for vocal leftists interested in actually discussing their views to succeed in a big way on Twitch without regularly going over the top. But at the same time, all of this provocation feeds the same insatiable content machine. In Piker's case, it began on Twitch, but quickly evolved into mob efforts on Twitter, where it's notoriously easy for incensed users to descend on whomever they deem worthy of rage and threats. It then graduated to YouTube, where drama, he's creating a systemic excuse for Hasan Piker's behavior. Sorry. You can discuss these points without going there. Don't believe me. Don't believe me? Here we go. This cycle benefits opportunists, whether they're drama-devouring YouTubers or politicians like Crenshaw, whose mastery of the ancient art of concern trolling has been nakedly apparent ever since his spat with Pete Davidson. Wait a second. You're claiming that legitimate issues with ableism are concern trolling? You need some evidence for that. I can understand why a guy wouldn't want comedians making fun of his war injury. That's not concern trolling. That's human. Jeez. He claims that has been nakedly apparent ever since his spat with Pete Davidson. Yesterday, he ended his chat with Fox's Laura Ingraham with a grin, saying that he needs to come back more often after Ingraham pointed out that this was his first time on the show. So what? He grins. That's what you do at the end of a TV segment. You smile. This is not very persuasive. It also makes it hard to discuss the points Piker was trying to make, though he did, by his own admission, make them sloppily. What he tried to do was hold a powerful figure accountable by dispelling his justifications for undeniably abhorrent acts perpetrated by the United States. This is a word salad. Hold on. What he tried to do was hold a powerful figure accountable. I'm assuming that's Dan Crenshaw. I'm assuming. By dispelling his justifications for undeniably abhorrent acts perpetrated by the United States. Okay, he doesn't state the undeniably abhorrent acts. I assume it's selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. I don't know. What ensued, though, was a drive-by scream fight about whether or not a streamer hates America. Twitch proceeded to pour salt on the wound by suspending Piker, and per its unpopular policy, not explaining why, leaving the door open for people to conclude that the content of Piker's statement that American policy decisions led to 9/11 played a part in the company's decision-making. This is underhanded. This is underhanded opinion writing masquerading as journalism. Instead of going, yeah, he went way over the line, it's evident why Twitch suspended him, the big question is why they didn't do it sooner. This weird kind of conspiracy theory. And this idea that, we don't get to talk about this serious issue. It's freaking Twitch, man. We go there to play video games. I mean, we talk politics in my streams too, but it's like a back and forth. It's in the chat. Like, Twitch was not designed to have a guy sit there and just e-bully other people. That's what Hasan Piker is. His just chatting streams are online bullying. He's using the fact that he has a large audience to just mock and defame people. He did it to me. Like, the things he accused me of were defamatory and just absolutely unprovable. And, reckless disregard for the truth. That's the standard for defamation. It didn't really hurt me that much. That's why nobody bothers suing. Like, it's just, that's Hasan Piker. He's known as a drama channel now. But the issue that Kotaku, and this is why I claim it's full Kotaku, is not that the left and the right both overdo it way too much to get eyeballs. And, I don't think it's a privileged navel gaze to talk about whether U.S. foreign policy led to 9/11. I think that's an absurd argument. The closest you could come is U.S. foreign policies led to some of the things that led the terrorist cells to be able to thrive there, and they then went on to commit 9/11. But that's quite a few big leaps, This is up there with, video games don't cause violence, but, which Kotaku does its own fair share of as well. Instead of just going, dude was out of line, which is the normal, sane human response to this, that what your argument is and how you make your argument are equally important to true progressive thought, because we're supposed to be better than the people who, we I shouldn't say we, but some of us see ourselves as morally superior to, because we don't have to go there. We don't have to attack someone's appearance. We don't have to use ad hominems. We actually have the facts on our side, so we can argue the facts. But Hasan Piker and Uncle Cenk and all the other young Turks don't do that. They frequently engage in hyperbole because it's much easier to just go, Jamal Khashoggi, didn't even say his name, we sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. Like, that, it's so reductive and so besides the point. But that's an easy thing to scream at and go, look, fast, in a 7-minute YouTube clip. Whereas unpacking the issue is a 300-page book at the very least. And this is the problem. This is the real problem, that people are getting their views of the world, their ideas of the world through these soundbite driven drama channels masquerading as news and commentary. And I spend a lot of time on Twitch questioning the junk that people have absorbed. And it's not their fault, because they get it from reputable sources. And it's amazing how quickly, when you present actual facts to them, like, well, okay, there's a lot more I didn't know about this. Like, my Twitch viewers are cool. Like, they listen. That's why we can have a dialogue. You will never see me engage in crap like this. This is just unacceptable. And it's embarrassing that left-wing outlets like Kotaku are trying to cover for Hasan Piker's immature, potty-mouthed, homophobic behavior. And I'm good with immature and potty-mouthed, but when you go into his crass lack of empathy that he displayed here, no. All human beings should be able to go, that's wrong. I get that you care a lot about this issue, but over the line, man. Take it to 8chan, right? Can we at least all agree with this? Okay, I'm going to wrap here, because that's way longer than I wanted to talk about it. But there was so much, Kotaku, I just praised you for good journalism. You just, what was that, a week? Reset the freaking clock. It has been 0 days since Kotaku went full Kotaku. Well, maybe it's 1 or 2 now, because this is a bit old, but this came out on, what did it come out on? It came out on Friday. So it's now been 3 days, maybe something could happen, since Kotaku went peak Kotaku. And I'm pre-recording this, so something may have happened after I recorded. Anyway, this will probably get demonetized because of what I talked about. So if you support facts over drama, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/RihannaK, and get access to the cool things we do as a community. You don't just get insider information, you actually get to influence the topics and formats that happen on this channel. And it's a really great group. They're a really good bunch of people. This crap does not happen there. Thanks for watching.